Today I'm going to be planting okra seed. These are Star of David, and I like to put them in cell trays and plant them individually into the garden. I used to take and dig a furrow and just sprinkle the seeds into the furrow, but then you have to go back and thin out tremendously. So I plant into cell trays. This is 162 cell trays. On this side right here, it's already got the soil on top. Okra like to be planted at least 1 inch deep. So I've put my seed starting mix in here, which I already had it pre-wet, which I like to use a little container because the water will drain out. And then I got my seed starting mix wet like I want it to be wet, because if you put it in dry, then what happens is the seeds have a tendency to surface to the top. The seed starting mix kind of flows over. Excuse me. It flows over, and then your seeds can get out of place, and so it's really a big mess. It can be a big mess. So I always like to soak my seed starting mix. Like I said, put it into a container because it reaches the bottom, so all this is wet. And then I put my seed starting mix into my cell trays. The okra like to be planted 1 inch deep, so I make little giblets and put my little giblets in there, and then I drop 1 seed into the cell tray. I didn't plant how many seeds I'm going to be, sowing. I did use a pack that came from the Dollar Tree, and it's Farm Hook Farms heirlooms, and it's a Star of David okra. Now the Star of David gets they're big and fat. They're not long and skinny. And I had stalks up to 12 feet high last year, 10 to 12 feet, 9 feet. It was really crazy. They are short and fat. They're great for frying. They're great for putting in anything you want to put them into. But they're great for frying because they're kind of big, and they're not like, say, slimy type okra. But so okra seed like to be planted at least 1 inch deep, and it takes 58 days to harvest. And then if you put them into the garden or a raised bed, they need to be about 12 inches apart for growth. So these seeds right here are the Star of David from last year. You let your pods dry onto the bush, and your okra can turn to a bush if you don't kind of weed it out a little bit, like cut some of the leaves off of it. And I like to cut some of my leaves off it as it grows, and I harvest okra and creates it to grow tall. But you let your pods dry onto the plant, and then you can just shell out your seeds, and then you got your seeds, and it's a heirloom. So I'm just going to be planting the Star of David this year. Last year I've always planted Clemson spineless, but I planted Star of David, and I like it. So since I've always planted the Clemson spineless, which is old time favorite, it's faithful. And so all I'm doing, since I got my seed starting mix moist, is I just put it on top of it. And since I'm getting a late start, I'm going to make the seed soil to seed contact. I'm going to put this onto a heat mat. Now probably what I'm going to do, I'll go ahead and do it. I'll just take my sprinkler, my sprayer, and just do like that. And that way, even though my seed starting mix is wet, it's going all the way through. It's kind of putting that seed and soil touching one another. And so now I'm just going to put it on the heat mat, and it probably will take maybe 5 to 7 days, and these things will start germinating. And so the okra likes it hot. That's why I'm a little bit behind, because our weather has been cool. And so okra will not grow. It'll sit right there until it gets hot. It's supposed to be 85 today. I think it was 91 yesterday. And so I need to go ahead and get these seeds going, and because it won't be long here on the southeast coast, it's going to be tremendously hot, and these seeds will take off. These plants will take off and produce a great harvest. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on to the next video.